So most companies don't lose leads because the lead's not interested. Most of them lose leads because they don't track data from when it's a lead to when you start working that deal and doing discovery calls with them. You don't track the data. And when you don't track the data, you don't know what's working and what's not working. You can't tell if it's a process issue that you guys are doing, a bad rep that you hired, a sales pitch that you guys have crafted out by your managers. You don't know what the problem is. So you're kind of just guessing at it. And when you guess at it, you usually make mistakes of firing people, hiring new people, running new scripts, using old ones that are outdated, right? So there's all this kind of commotion going on or chaos within the business. And that's what causes you to lose the deal. So what we want to do in this video is we're going to talk to you about this diagram in front of me. This is going to help smart businesses watch out for everything that they do from when someone says, yes, I'm interested in the product or service that you offer, all the way until we do this discovery call. So we'll go through that process, what you should have in place. So up here is the overview for the video. It is when a lead is ready for a discovery call. We turn it into three things inside of Salesforce. There's an account, a contact, and an opportunity. We'll talk about each one of those, what those things mean. Another word for this might be deal. I think HubSpot uses the term deal. You might call it a deal. Salesforce calls it an opportunity. And then we want it all in one spot so that everybody knows what's happening. The managers, the customer service team, the C-suite, the sales reps, we all want to know what's happening with the deal. So again, we have that data and we know what's working. We know what's not working. It's kind of the whole key to this thing of making your sales process better. Okay, so jumping right in, we have this up here, this diagram. This is the very first step. This is when your lead is interested. So what I would advise very first thing is, I see a lot of businesses on the smaller scale when we work with them that in general, this goes across everything that we do with them, not just your sales process. But what I find often is that they have not defined what things mean to the business. So this is one of them. If you're in that spot, define what this means and actually have something that you would know is true every time. You have to have a definition for stuff. Otherwise, it gets messy and people don't know what things are. So when we say a lead is interested and we want to convert that lead, what does that actually mean? Do they approve something and send it back to you? Do they physically say a certain keyword? Do they say, yes, I'm interested, and you heard that on the phone and it's been recorded and that's when you convert it? Do they sign a proposal? Do they end a free trial? Whatever it is, there's probably something in your business that you would know, hey, this person is now interested to take things forward. This is what we're going to do. For my business, a consulting business, to give you an example, is we will pitch people. We have all these leads, right? If they say and they sign up physically for a discovery call, they jump on the call with one of our sales reps or me to talk about whether or not we're going to be a good fit for the business. That's us moving it from a lead to an opportunity. At that point, they're interested enough that they're going to get on a 30-minute call. They're now an opportunity for us. So we know every single time there is a clear indicator to say, this is when this happens. So if you do not have that mapped, have that mapped so that you know when to convert this lead. When it hits that point, there's going to be a button in the top right of Salesforce where it'll allow you to what they call convert the lead. When we convert the lead, it will give you the option to create an account, a contact, and an opportunity. And what it's going to do, it's going to use information from this lead, and it's going to carry that information over into these proper places. So these are all split out a little bit differently. The account is usually used for company data. So if we talk about my business, there's Jordan Nelson, who's the CEO of Simply Scale, and then there's individual feature, service, product, whatever it is that I'm offering him that he's interested in. So the account would be Simply Scale. That's the business he works for and all of the company information. The contact would be Jordan Nelson. He's the CEO, his title, anything that pertains to Jordan, phone number, email, all that kind of stuff. And then your opportunity or the deal, this is going to be anything that he's interested in buying. So whatever product he said he wants to buy or service that he's interested in, that's what this is going to involve. So the price for that product or service, when we started that deal, when we're hoping to close that deal, all that kind of information. So what we do to create these three things so that we get the data that we already have and put it into the proper places, there's also going to be a step in here. I won't go into it technically, but you can map the information from that lead into these proper channels. So that way, when we click the button, it just automatically puts that data in the right spot. So it saves you time from having to create these 3 things, making sure you don't have typos. All that stuff is not going to happen because it'll just do it for you automatically. So we want to do those, and then we want to move down to some of these automations as well. So after we do that, this is typically where someone in their business would also call this a sales qualified lead. There's some acronyms that we're going to use here. One of them is called SQL. It stands for sales qualified lead. Just means marketing has given us a lead. At this point, we've talked with them enough. We know they're interested. It's now a sales qualified lead. We're saying, yes, hey, we've talked to them. This is a qualified lead that we're ready to work with. So we want to usually mark it at this point as a sales qualified lead. They agreed to a discovery call. They're interested enough. We want to assign some ownership here. So again, definitions are going to be key. How do you want this to work? Do you have different people working the leads and different people working the opportunities? Some cases that might be something like you have SDRs or BDRs that are working the leads, and then you have your Salesforce AEs that are working the actual opportunities or the deals. If you have that separation, again, define here as a business what this means to you. Does that mean Jack was the guy that was working the lead and now he needs to have some kind of handoff process to introduce it over to Ashley, who's going to be the AE? If the answer is yes, we want a little bit of information here so we can understand how to assign this. Who does that go to? How does it go to them? Do we have to evenly distribute it? There's more videos I have on my channel if you want to look into that. I'm not going to go into that in this video, but there's things about round robining. You evenly distribute. You could do performance-based routing where we give it to the best sales reps for the best type of service product that we're selling. They sell it the best. We give it to Ashley over there. Or it might just be you're smaller and you only have a couple reps. So it just goes to the person that was working the lead, right? They stay on it. So again, define here what you're going to do and how big or small your business is. Probably a couple steps here if you're a little bit bigger. Once we assign that ownership, we want to update the opportunity stage. Stages of the opportunity tell us where you're at in that sales process. So typically number 1 is something like open. Number 2 is something like discovery call. Maybe you have to send a proposal. Maybe you still have to send a contract or you have to negotiate terms, and then you close the deal. So all those steps or stages of the sales process, we want those defined in Salesforce again, so we know how far along you are working that deal or that opportunity. And what we want to do here when we convert this to an opportunity is automatically update it to the right stage. Typically, it's going to be something like discovery. After we do that, we want to record the stage entry date. I've also talked about this in some other videos around the sales process, but the reason for recording a date, this gives us data that we want to know. When you look back over a 3-month period, 6-month period, 12-month period, and we want to understand, hey, what's going on? Why does it take us 3 months to close a deal? What's going to be super helpful in that discovery is for your C-suite, your CEOs, CFOs, whoever's involved in that, VP of sales. They're going to probably want to understand how long something stays in a certain stage. So if we put it into the discovery stage, does that take us 3 months? Does that take us 2 days? Does that take us 1 hour? How long does this take for us to go from discovery to the next stage? And when we record those dates, that allows us to see how long it takes, number 1. But number 2 is to have some better discussions where we can drill in and say, oh, hey, yeah, the longest process is actually the discovery. And why is that? Do we have bad sales scripts? Are we not asking the right questions? Are we not getting the right client we usually want to work with inside an opportunity with us? Why are we taking so long to do discovery? What's the problem here? Is it a lack of training? Is it a lack of the product, the descriptions we have? You can ask all those questions. But the important part is we need to first start capturing the date. Otherwise, again, we go back to that guessing game. We start guessing as to why this is taking so long and come up with a bunch of assumptions that are probably wrong. So we want to record the stage entry date for that purpose. After we do that, we want to schedule some follow-up actions for that sales rep to take and or the account manager. So after this opportunity comes through, there's probably some things that they have to do in order to move this into the next stage. So it's going to look like maybe I got to reach out to them 3 or 4 different times. I got to send them this type of stuff. Like we talked about a little bit earlier, maybe I have to speak with my SDR and we have to do some type of handoff between the both of us. Maybe there's some handoff between me and the onboarding team. There's all kinds of things that could be happening that we want them to follow. The point is, we want to make this automated so that your sales team isn't stuck guessing at what to do. When we zoom all the way out and we think of you as a business and not just the day-to-day of somebody doing this thing, we think of you as a business. A business is just a series of systems. So in this system that we're setting up for you, the reason we want this automated, think about it in terms if we hire someone brand new. You hire me, I come into your business, I'm supposed to sell your product or service. I have no idea what I'm doing. Yeah, I'm going to have to get trained up. I'm going to have to learn some stuff, but I'm not going to know what kind of tasks I have to follow after I sell the product or service. And if we don't set this up, what is that person going to do? Well, if it's me, I'm going to have to go ask other sales reps, or I'm going to have to ask my manager, or I'm going to have to ask whoever can give me that information what I'm supposed to do. I'm also going to be probably pretty inconsistent with it because I don't remember all the steps I'm supposed to do on every single deal. And they might be different for each type of deal I do. So we want to create this stuff automatically. So it's just a checklist. There's no thinking, hey, on this type of deal, here's the tasks that you have to do. You have to call them, you have to email them, you have to send them this white paper, you have to do this discovery call, you have to do this sales pitch, you have to loop in your sales manager on this. Yeah, you get the idea. You just list out all these tasks that they're going to have to do so they don't spend time wasted asking a bunch of people on Slack or in Teams about what they're supposed to do with the deal. We just want to tell them what they're supposed to do with the deal. So we'll create all those things and put it on the opportunity for you. So again, you can hear what I'm going to say again, the definitions here. This is why this is so important. If you don't have this defined, well, it's really hard for somebody to be a good salesman at your company and close deals if you don't know what to do or how to tell them what to do. So this is where we want to define those things. Here in this dotted one that I have here, the reason I have this one dotted is this isn't a requirement. This is probably a little bit more if you're a bigger business, just because this costs more money. But at this stage, a lot of businesses will use something like an outreach, where it records your calls. It tells you how well you did on those calls, gives you some pointers what to do. And with AI now, there's a bunch of stuff that this does. But another thing it will also do is record all the notes and write summaries for you about what happened on that call. So if you fit into this business where you're a little bit bigger and you use a tool like an outreach, what we can also do is we can integrate this tool with Salesforce. And then what you would do from here is you would sync this discovery call data. So they take the discovery call, and then after it gets done processing on outreach, it pushes that information into Salesforce and puts it also on the opportunity. So now as a manager or a CEO or whoever, they can go look at this opportunity, and you don't need to really interact too much with the sales rep to understand what's going on. They'll have notes, you'll have all your information about the deal, plus you'll have this transcript and or a summary of what happened on the call, what they said, how the vibe was, how much they interacted with them, who did the most talking. You get all that kind of data. So we can also push that there. And again, as you can guess, if we have to figure out who's doing the best, who's doing the worst as far as our reps go, what we should say, what we shouldn't say, this is going to be key data that we want to start tracking. So we're going to put that on here too. If you don't have that, no need to fret. What I would do if you're a little bit smaller is there's going to be a box at the bottom, or a text box that's called notes. If you don't have one, you can always create one in Salesforce. But basically, it just allows you to just kind of keep a running tab of what's going on. So I would fill that out, push your sales reps to fill that out. So at least in the meantime, before you buy a tool like this that's better, what are the common things people are saying? Jumping the gun here a little bit. Again, this will be helpful if you're small. When you go to close the deal too, you should always require a close lost reason or a closed won reason. And the reason for that is so we can see why we lost the deal or why we won the deal. That also will help so that in the long run, when you try to figure out, hey, who's the good customers we should reach out to, who's the bad customers we should reach out to, you can see why they went with you or they didn't go with you. So that's another helpful tip here. After that, we got two last steps. I would link the call details to the opportunity. So we sync it, we then link it over to the opportunity like I talked about. And then the very last step is just analyzing the performance. So what I mean by that is just after we do all this, it would kind of be dumb to not look back and see if this is improving or making things worse. So we want to make sure it's obviously improving the process and that we didn't do too much stuff all at once. It's not overkill. Everybody's getting better in the company. Like, we're closing more deals. People are getting better at moving things through the stages a lot quicker. Your sales managers feel like they have to do less follow-up. All that stuff we can track. We should track so that we can see that this process made things better. If it didn't, obviously tweaks. If it did, double down on the stuff that did. So this is what I would put into play. This is what I see working the best for, the clients we work with that are bigger, scaling a little bit faster, able to hire more people despite the market. They have really smart systems like this in place, and this one seems to work fantastic when you get it right. If you're interested in getting this implemented, you haven't done this before, I did put a link in the description below. You can click that. It'll send you to our page. Just find out if we're a good fit. It'll push you actually to our discovery call. And if we are a good fit, we'd love to come in and do this for you guys, and or give you some pointers if you have a team already, Salesforce team, on how they could do that. Appreciate it. Look forward to talking to you guys soon.